Let's talk about self-storage. It's been a focus for us here lately. Got a property under contract today, but just wanted to kind of walk through with the group here why we're going after self-storage, why we think it's sexy, and maybe just kind of lead us off. What has been attracting you toward self-storage?
Really the first thing that got me interested in it was the amount of automation that can go into it, along with lack of having actual tenants living in units. So as you guys may or may not know, we own quite a few single family rentals, apartment complexes, and tenant issues, the leasing up period, the maintenance issues that come up, turnovers, things like that. So it can be a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And especially when tenants beat up units and or you have to evict them because they're not paying rent. Those are processes you have to go through that take time, take money to take care of. And with self-storage, what was really attractive to that was, again, tenants aren't living in there. When a tenant doesn't pay, you can automatically lock them out, depending on how the facility is set up, but you can do automatic lockouts on them. And then when they move out, if they leave some stuff in there, you do a quick auction, get their stuff out. All you have to do is do the auction, sweep that thing out, and then it's ready for the next tenant. Versus a single family or multifamily, oftentimes you have to go in, you're doing touch-up paint, you're doing cleaning, you're doing other repairs, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff with self-storage that we'll go over today a little bit that really makes it attractive compared to other asset classes that we've invested in.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, historically it's been single family, multifamily, and the growth was from single family to multifamily, and now we're saying, okay, let's really dive into this self-storage thing and go after some new opportunities there. So yeah, that one was a big one. Tenant rights, we'll call it. Yeah. And the ability to just put some automations in place that if somebody hasn't paid you, it automatically shuts them out. It's not even a conversation. It's just you haven't paid, and you'll get the gate opened again when it is paid, right? Yeah.
Pretty simple.
That's pretty ideal. You own real estate. That's kind of what you want in life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to chat a little bit about the demand, I guess. Let's start off with the demand for self-storage.
Yeah. So the financial piece is really an attractive part of it as well. So you look at the S&P 500 over the last 25 years, hovers around a 7% return. You look at office space, retail, it was right around 12%. Multifamily is around a 12.9% IRR, so internal rate of return. And then you look at self-storage, and it's right around 16.9% over that 25-year period, average IRR. So you look at that, and historic numbers show that this is a highly profitable asset class. And so with that, it looks quite attractive and interesting, in combo with those tenant rights. The other piece is really the timing of now in comparison to, say, years past or in the future, whatever the case may be. But that demand driver is quite interesting time, an inflection point, I would call it, based on the idea with COVID and work from home situation that people are now working from home more frequently. COVID sort of pushed us into that environment of allowing more work from home and work from anywhere. And now I could go put my stuff into storage and go travel around. Millennials are kind of in that mindset, Gen Z, similar mindset of wanting to go and experience the world and not necessarily be constricted to a single location.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like the timing is now, and it's right. There's 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. That's another piece of it. So you end up with people wanting storage. They're moving. They're going away to college. They're downsizing their, let's say, either house or could be even an office is downsizing. Or on the flip side, so that's in let's say a recession environment where people are downsizing. The other environment is when people are adding additional capacity. They want some extra space. We were just touring the property that we have under contract now that is talking about this expansion of a business where they buy materials off of semi trucks that have crashed on the freeway, and they can't basically like now go just deliver that same product. It has to sell into somebody like this and then goes and resells. Super interesting business model, but he's expanding and needs more storage units. So you look at those demand factors, and it is really attractive. You're recognizing that a lot of these units are fully sold out. You look at RV storage, boat storage, those are all super high demand opportunities. So from the financial piece, it is really attractive sector within real estate.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes too, the price point of renting an actual unit is fairly cheap in the scheme of things, to where it's a lot easier for somebody if they're downsized, instead of, hey, I need to go through all this stuff, and most of the stuff probably that are in storage units should be sold. A lot of people put stuff in storage units, don't look at for sometimes years.
Sure.
But it's a lot easier just, hey, I'll pay this $80 a month for this unit, and I'll just put all my stuff in there, and I'll deal with that later. So I think with the price points that a lot of units are at, that will continue to drive demand for people to, like you said, be able to downsize, put stuff in, put stuff away, and kind of forget about it for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll call it sticky. So the minute that somebody has their junk, or treasures into the facility, you don't really want to move it, right? It is a hassle and a pain to go and move from a storage facility to somewhere else because it might be cheaper or whatever the case may be. So with that, you can increase rents consistently if that's what your strategy is that supports it within the market. But you can keep driving rents up, and people retain their assets there because it's a pain in the butt to move things, right? Whereas long-term rental, you're locked in for a lease for a year.
Yeah.
You're not continually raising rent until that lease is up. So that is another piece of it that you can start to adjust with the market, adjust your overall rates, and increase your income consistently and more inflection points along the year.
Yeah, having that flexibility where the tenants are only renting the units for 30 days at a time, sometimes signing longer contracts, but 30 days at a time, having that flexibility to adjust rates as need be. And we've seen oftentimes when we've been underwriting deals, just again, the demand for self-storage in the area where facilities are 100% occupied, and then the facilities we're looking at aren't quite at 100%, but that vacancy, because there are vacancies, it does allow you to start to push rents fairly quick if you want to be able to adapt to what the current market's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say attracts you the most to self-storage? Is it really the returns that you've talked about a bit, or the automations involved, or what's your side of it?
It's kind of all-encompassing, right? You know, the ease of management is an attractive piece. So you and I have talked about growth and strategy and what we really see a future looking like. And that future is continuing to add assets, grow the portfolio. But we don't really want a team of 50, 100 people to help us manage that. You're then managing the people and the team. And that's the strategy for some folks. That's awesome. More power to them. And that's great. But for me and you, we'd rather kind of focus on growing the business, but not adding a ton of resources.